Well, okay, Sinatapi, Nistu Nidaniko Makoyo Sakoi. And guess what? Oh my God! We're at Red Lake, Minnesota! Give it up, man, for Red Lake, Minnesota, and all the Ojibwe and the Anishinaabeg, all Canada. We're Native Wellness coming to you live with the Power Hour. I'm excited, and I probably look a little bit greasy, and I'm a little bit shaggy. We just got out of a ceremony, a water ceremony with children and medicine people, and they fed us elk meat, and they've been giving me berries, and oh my God, wild rice. They gave me wild rice, and I think I can get some walleye. So this is 141 weeks of the Power Hour. And I have two special guests here. And I wanted to share with you, Native Wellness Institute was invited to come to Red Lake. And there's a wellness gathering, and it has some history. We had millennials, we had elders, we had treatment programs. We had halfway houses come here. We had tribal leaders stop by. We had grandmas. I just met a grandma, 86 years old. She hasn't come, but she heard Badass Auntie was here. She wanted to come see Badass Auntie. And we just had a beautiful cup of tea, and we got to meet each other. So welcome to the Native Wellness Institute's Power Hour. And I have two guests. And these two guests, Devery Fairbanks is a man that I met a couple decades ago. We met at a gathering of Native Americans. And when I met him, he had that safe, you know when men are safe? Like they want to know your story. They want to tell you their story. They want to see how they can assist you in either your education or your healing. I always got that from Devery. So I haven't seen him since the pandemic. And so he's one of our guests. And then the next guest, oh my God, this is my new, I would call it my new niece or my new baby sister. Because she had a magic wand, but you couldn't see it. Like, if the room needed to be rearranged, she would just do that wand and it would happen. If we needed a little bit more extra food, her wand would just go like that and it would happen. And some magic happened here. You know, I've only been graced with 34 years and 8 months of sobriety and some time in Al-Anon and healing from the trauma in my tribe and in my family. But I got a lot of healing here. That's probably, if you look at my eyes, I've been crying and laughing. And we were crying and laughing so hard, like we were teasing that we peed in our pants. I didn't pee in my pants, but I wanted to because I was laughing so hard because Don Burnstick was here. Plus, man, the people at Red Lake are just goofy. They love to laugh at each other and make tease. They're just like Indians, like, you know, Indian knows Indian. No fake Indians here, no pretend Indians, just Indians. So I'm going to get close to sister over here. And so Raina, she's so beautiful. Raina and her team deserve all the credit for this week or some of the healing that's been going on. So Raina, please introduce yourself and tell us about this conference that's going on here.
Right, Bonjour, everybody. Chimanadu, Makwa, Kwe, Indigenous Cause. Hello, my name is Raina Cruz Gonzalez Rivera Lusher. I come from Red Lake, and I was just really excited about the Community Wellness Conference that we had going on here. We had 226 people registered for this conference.
Woo-hoo!
So I feel like we have hit our goal. We had an amazing registration team. Red Lake Chemical Health, Miigwech, for allowing me to plan this conference for our community, our people who need the healing or people who need the laugh. So, and then right here's our shirts, Ojibwe Strong. So if you came to our conference, you got an Ojibwe Strong shirt, and
Check this
we
out.
do recover.
Woohoo!
So we always want to utilize our medicine wheel, our teachings, our elders, our children. So it was just a beautiful conference. So I really hope anybody who sees my flyer again next year to come hang out with us, come laugh, come tell stories, just come love one another. But if anybody does, come on in. I'm happy Auntie enjoyed herself.
Well, tell us who you are. Like, who are your parents? Who are your kids? Who were your ex? You don't have to tell your ex. You don't have to tell your exes or your old snags. But who are you?
I come from Redby District. My grandma and my grandparents are Peter English and Mary Jane English. They had a family of 7 children. I was actually raised by a village of my family members. I was fortunate enough to be raised by not only my grandparents, my uncles and aunties, and my cousins. And I love them all. So I feel blessed that who I am today is because of them. And my mom is my my backbone. She's done everything she could do for me, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here today. I'm sorry everyone, I'm getting emotional, but it's just really good healing. And all of us, we cried. I'm crying now, but everything just felt good. Everyone who came to the conference, I got to see elders. Actually, I got to meet new relatives, relatives that are my family members. I got to meet Gloria Hill. She found out that we're related, so that was really cool. So I got to meet a new family member, and we got to laugh. The drum, miigwech to Young Kingbird from Obashin, coming to share songs with everybody, with our relatives. They really smashed out those songs, and you can just see everyone's light ignite. And so when everyone was leaving, I could see that their fire was burning bright, and that was my ultimate goal, was to make sure our relatives left here feeling good, filling their cup up for the new year, having new goals, and just starting with a fresh new goal. And then we have this amazing Red Lake Nation College. So I got to hear some community members apply for college. So good job. And that's what we want. We want to see our community members do good. We want them to get education. We want them, maybe they'll come run here, and then whoever comes, maybe they'll come help me plan next year. I hopefully see some of the people who are in recovery come speak. I hopefully will see them again next year. So the conference was, you guys gotta come next year. It's gonna be better and bigger.
Oh my gosh, one of the things that Raina, and she's just here, like, I have to touch her because at the end there was a ceremony, and the water drum, there was a young man that kept coming and singing, and I was sitting by the immersion school, so they're children, 4, 5 years old, that are with a grandma that only speaks the language. And one little girl it was her first day. It was her first day of school. And it was so touching because she was sitting at the lap of her grandma. She was seeing men sing, protect, nurture. She was seeing women laughing and telling stories, and she was just the energy and her little sweetness is, and I just thought, wow, what if every Indian kid that was like their first day of school at a ceremony, watching all these sober Indians and watching them interact and watching them be kind to each other, watching them be good to each other. So we got tears here, but we have another guest, and I really asked, and Devry is one of the Indian men that is a storyteller. And he's a good example of he's been 40 years sober. So I'm going to roll on over here to, we're just on these rolling chairs, and I'm going to roll on over to Devry because we've just asked him to speak for the Indian men. So Devry, what you thinking?
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm Ojibwe from the White Earth Reservation here, little ways west of here, southwest of here. And my Ojibwe name is Mainganace. I come from Wabashka, King and Donji, White Earth. Mainganace is Little Wolf, and Migazi and Duodam is my clan, the Bald Eagle. And we have a whole protocol of language. Mishkawazi, Magadima, Nishinabe, Pimadasi, Wani, Nishinabe, Chigayan. Well, I've been to quite a few of these events, and I was telling these guys that there are young people here that's their first year of sobriety, and I see their good feelings. We interact easily. Everyone's smiling and feeling good. And when first year sober people can be relaxed and see people around them that are smiling and feeling good, that's really important. Because then they'll want to stick with it. They want,
we were sitting here just reflecting. Of course, we've been visiting for about 45 minutes before we got on. And I was wondering if you could share with us, because like a lot of the women here are bruised. Their male partners, they gotta have some forgiveness. They gotta have some healing, and I seen that start to happen here. So, Devry, could you just share with us maybe some of the men that you worked with, or your own story, or how do Indian men start to heal so that they can be good dads, or that they can just be part of our community where we trust them? Because one of the things that happen here in our talking circles is that we all talked about regaining trust, and boy, I seen that. So can you talk about trust building? How do Indian men build trust?
well, they have to be willing to put down all their pretensions and their ego and listen to the teachings, one of which is to be humble, to come in the room and be willing to participate and keep their ears open and be willing to learn. I myself have been very lucky because I've been a faculty member for a long time, and at a mainstream university. Then I came to back home here, at first at Leech Lake College and now Red Lake College. So I'm working with Native students. But all this time I've been in education, I used to be in behavioral health too. I also work in the chemical dependency community just as a volunteer. All these years I've been working as a teacher. So I do lots of stuff in the community like this event this week. So I've seen lots of people grow and heal, but the main thing is to show up and participate. I remember when I was sober, I was awkward, I was unsociable, I was nervous, I was worried, I was scared. I didn't even want to be sober because I didn't know how to act. This week, I saw young people, their first year sober, interacting very easily, smiling, feeling good, shaking hands, hugging, just really feeling lots of good feelings in here. And I've been to these type of events a lot, and I see that a lot. And I also want to say, I'm not from here, but this is where I pretty much sobered up. You may have known this guy, Adam Lusher.
Yeah.
You may have known Adam.
Yeah.
Well, he was the one who helped me sober up when I was a young guy
that's
back
beautiful.
in the early 80s.
Yeah.
These guys up here, Giles and what's his name, Joe B, Lee Senior. There was lots of sober people there that were strong, and Adam was one of the leader. But anyways, I learned from them, and they said, well, any fool can be drunk in the street. But look at the big picture. Where do you want to be? Sobriety is important because it affects our families, our children. If we drink, our kids are going to drink. If we get in trouble, our kids will grow up, they'll probably get in trouble. And so I thought, geez, if I keep drinking, my kids will never have a chance. Them poor kids. And then, the age of ICWA, they're taking kids away.
Yeah.
I'd have probably lost my kids. That's why I quit drinking, because I was too out of control with blackouts and whatnot. But young men, they just have to show up and they learn. And once you learn and you feel good, maybe you, for example, when I first went to treatment, I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to be there. After a couple of weeks of being in treatment, I realized that was the safest place in the world to be in treatment, to walk in those AA rooms. That was the safest place in the world, especially even from myself.
Yes.
Like, there are temptations out there. I thought, as long as I'm in here, I can be safe from out there. And even my own, I remember when I graduated from treatment, I went to Halfway House. I graduated from Halfway House. I got a job. I got my license back. I got an apartment, and it was Friday. I got paid. I was sitting at home on my couch like this here, and I got scared. I panicked. I thought, I could run out and buy a case of beer right now and sit right here in the living room and drink it. I was scared, of my own self. But then I thought, wait a minute. I've learned too much. I've came too far. The elders taught me stuff. They treated me like I was their own nephew or their own son or whatever. They trusted me. They said, if you get your license back, we will hire you. You can drive the van. Like, all the clients came in the vans, right? I did that. Drove clients in vans. I was so honored just that they trusted me. And that's a big thing, is trust, too. I remember I went to my first sweat. I was scared. They had pipe. They had an altar. They had rocks, and they had the sweat. And I remember me and my friends, we were all wearing jean jackets. We had long hair with bandanas. And I remember thinking, these guys are real Indians. Because they could speak their language. They knew songs. And we were guys from the streets, like troublemakers or whatever. We grew up around natives our whole life.
Yes.
But I remember I was kind of scared my first sweat.
Yes.
These are real Indians. But the guy welcomed us. He took a lot of weight off our shoulders by saying, I don't care whatever you guys did.
Yeah.
Right? I don't care what you did. Important thing is you're here now in this circle. We're going forward. And hands me that pipe. We was nervous. He said, here, rake up this around the sweat here. Here, give us some pails. Go get some water. Chopping wood, hauling water, putting the tarps up, moving the leaves, getting all the leaves out.
Yeah.
He put us to work.
Yeah.
Instead of, because we were standing there nervous. I was real nervous. Instead, he had us participating.
Yeah.
Here, go smudge these people over here. They had like a shell thing, and they had a can with a...
Beautiful.
And they had us smudging people, and they trusted us. And just having someone accept you and trust you was a major breakthrough for me in my own sobriety.
Yeah.
I went to treat. A lot of us were court ordered. We were angry. We were in rage, resentments, big time, denial, shame, all of that. We had to learn forgiveness, mainly to forgive ourselves first.
Yes,
I think.
Yes.
But after they welcomed us, they invited us in, they trusted us, put us to work, wow, I learned how to, I went to a sweat ceremony. We learned how to do a sweat ceremony, whatever. And every time I went to a AA meeting or a ceremony or something, a feast, we learned more.
Yes.
And we felt better, and they welcomed us all the time.
Yeah.
And I knew that this is where I want to be. I don't want to be back there, because I was out there drinking. I was blacking out. I lost my license. I lost my license twice. And that's hard to get your license back, and to lose it twice. So I realized that I don't want to be back out there no more. That's not. And I learned so much from the teachers, the teachings. And I realized that I should have, when I grew up, we're supposed to respect our elders. I always heard that. I was always getting in trouble, causing trouble. I didn't really listen to the elders. But after these guys accepted me and welcomed me, I realized these guys, they show unconditional care for us, and we should respect that.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I'm going to try to stay on this path, this Mikina, Wanidu Mikina, the Spirit Road, the Misquah Mikina, the Red Road. and realized that that's the safest place in the world is to be sober. Because I was very destructive. I got shot. I got in car accidents. I was in fires. A lot of stuff happened to me.
And you look pretty good. Hey. You know, isn't that funny? We do all that, Devery. He's just sharing, and we still look good after all that when we're sober. So let me ask you this, Devery, because, and I'll come back to you, sister. Is one of the things that young girls and women and your daughters or your nieces, what kind of advice would you give to the Indian men about how they should treat women?
Well, I have 2 daughters, both in their 30s, and I wouldn't want any guys to bother them or to do them wrong or treat them badly. And you know, too, there's guys that they'll disrespect their girlfriends, but they'll say, don't say a bad word about my mom. You know, that's fighting words. You talk about my mom. So they respect their mom, but they don't respect their kid's mom. I tell the young guys, respect the people around you. Respect them. Respect your kid's mom like you would treat your kid's mom like you would treat people to treat your own mom. Because guys, they prize and value their own mom, but it seems like they disrespect their kid's mom. And I don't know why that is, but why they would think so highly of their mom, but think not so highly of other moms. And it'll come back and bite you in the end. It'll always, the karma will happen, and guys will have remorse, and they will if they humble themselves enough, they will apologize, and they will make amends, and they'll do that. And another thing, we was at these. I was telling you about last week.
Yes.
Well, they were talking about we grew up listening to our elders.
Yes.
How many of you listened to your elders?
Yes.
And nobody raised their hand. How many of you learned the hard way? They all. We all.
We're hard-ass. We're hard-headed.
And that's our thing with natives. We're supposed to listen to if we'd only do that, we wouldn't go through all the tears and blood and pain. And one of the speakers said he had a bloody nose, like dried up blood on his face and puke on his shirt. He peed in his pants, tears. His shirt was torn and his hands were all beat up from fighting. And he just was a mess, and he smelled bad. And he realized that I can't keep on going like this. Yes. It's fun to party and listen to the music and dance and sing and drink, but the next morning you feel like crap. You feel miserable and you feel shame. But the young guys, well, I'll tell you something. I've been in education a long time, and I haven't tried to date the like around Red Lake. I haven't dated anybody around here. And also Leech Lake before I came here. I didn't want to be getting in all this Peyton Place stuff with the local community. So I didn't bother. And then my friend Pete lives in Little Rock. You better not try to get around our women. I'll box you. And it was funny.
Yeah.
I said the Red Lake women are beautiful. I said, but they're tough. I said.
Hey.
And but anyways, but no, I think it's worth it to not. Well, actually, I just come out and admit I didn't know how to act.
Yeah. And
I remember I was intolerant, impatient, judgmental. One time I was in a meeting and I said, I give you permission to be crabby. I said, I've been sober a long time, but I'm still learning. I'm still not perfect.
Yes.
Whatever. And it was people were stunned. Like usually you go to me and they say, I had a good week. I'm doing good. Thank you very much. I pass. Right? No one says I'm crabby, I'm judgmental, I'm intolerant, and
exactly.
No one says that. And there's young people in the room, but sometimes you take a chance. You say it's okay to be angry. You can work on that. You can forgive yourself. You can go to a grief group.
Yes.
Maybe you still have grief work to do. You still have resentments, whatever. You can work on that.
Yes.
We're always learning every day, no matter how old we are. No matter where we go, That's why I love to travel. I learn stuff wherever I go.
Yes.
But so we're humans, though.
Exactly.
Been sober a long time, but we're still not perfect. Anyway, that's funny. Actually, I heard somebody else say that. They said, I give you permission to be crabby. And that's so funny, right? Like, good, because I was crabby yesterday. That's good, because I was, you know. And that's so true. It kind of, everybody, they all took a collective sigh of.
A sigh of relief.
Like, okay, good,
Yeah.
because I was kind of mean yesterday, or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And
no,
we're not perfect.
But see that sigh of relief. No, and thank you, Deborah, because one of the things in healing is with feelings. And I heard this from an elder. They said, you know, that feeling, no matter what it is, it could be lust, eh? It could be anger. It could be doubt. It could be, there's thousands of feeling words. They last about 90 seconds. And if you ride the feeling the whole 90 seconds and not try to stop it, stall it, or suck it up. If you just allow yourself to go on the roller coaster of the feelings, that's when you start healing. And that's what I seen here with myself, with the grandmas I was sitting with the young men. There was a young man here named Montana. And I seen Montana. We gave them instructions with a smudge. There was sage, and we used a powerful rite of passage medicine. And we chose a volunteer man. That was Montana, a volunteer woman, and a volunteer LGBTQ two-spirit person. And the three of them handled that smudge. But I seen Montana change in that circle, because he was so reverent. He had been given, just like what Devery just said, he had been trusted, and he had that medicine, and he was so gentle in letting each person take a pinch of that medicine. He allowed the timing and the pacing for them to put that medicine around their spirit. He just was treating it just so gentle. And, you know, he's in it less than a year, eh? Montana, you know, and he was a newcomer. And that's what I witnessed. And the other, you know, it was just an example of the young men coming here, observing the other men and being trusted. And he was trusted with doing the smudge. And anyway, Montana, I just think it's a badass name. You know, and plus I'm from Montana. Anyway, one of the things, this is a little bit of humor. I'm going to come over to Sister over there. Is there's 200 of us, and we're trying to take a picture. And our photographer, he goes, I need you all to smile. Like, think about something happy. And so when I had been doing the keynote, remember on Reservation Dogs when I did the part about, you know, the crystal dildos and the smudge, and I had a conversation with a young 17-year-old in Wyoming at a sobriety. We had a Gona, and this young 17-year-old came over to me, and he said, "What's in that medicine?" And I said, "You mean the medicine on the show or the medicine here that we put on the giveaway table?" And he goes, "The one on the show." And I go, well, that medicine, it was really magical because the four women, the four aunties, they were going to go out that night, and they thought they might meet someone to date or snag. And they had been instructed that they were sacred. So they took that medicine and they smudged their vaginas because their vaginas are sacred. And I turned to him and I said, that's because your scrotum is sacred. Did you know your scrotum? You should smudge your scrotum. And you shouldn't just go squirting around. That is like sacred. You got it. That's you. You can make life. And so here we are doing the picture. Oh my God. We're all getting it. So out of the crowd, the top of the crowd off the banister, they said, oh, what word should we use to make everyone smile? And they go, scrotum. That picture,
And I did it.
scrotum. It wasn't like Scoden. It was scrotum.
That's the new word in Indian country.
And so I'm gonna wheel over back to Reno because and thank you, Deborah, and I'm gonna come back to you for some. So, sister, tell us a little bit more. I mean, you're raised here. You've I just saw she has like this at ease with the grandma, the men, even the elected leaders. And my hat's off to our elected leaders. We ask you to pray for them. It's a hard job, but I just seen Raina handle every age, every gender, really in a good way. But tell us what were your favorite parts. Like she's been like setting up. And we just finished with the closing ceremony. What was your favorite parts of this conference? Are like what you were wishing for, and you just like said, yes, it happened. So, what are your favorite parts of this conference?
My favorite part was your workshop when we did the icebreakers with total strangers. There was a people I didn't know, so we put a balloon. We blew up a balloon, and they were in different shapes and forms. And everyone was laughing because some people couldn't blow up the balloon, and some blew up the balloon too much. But we would put them in our legs, and we were doing trust exercises. The person I didn't know, and we were just laughing. I was laughing so hard I couldn't even breathe. I was like, oh my God, I need some water. But that was my favorite part. And getting to know somebody new. That was I didn't know. I was telling her earlier, I met a relative, so I got to meet a new relative, a new friend, and then I got to meet more people in my community that I didn't know about. And now I told them, whenever you see me, just say hey. I'll say hey back. And what else? Oh, my favorite part too was when you were talking to our cultural coordinator, Kelly Iceman. The first time I ever seen him blush. So, so he was just smiling, and so I was like, oh look, Uncle Kelly's just blushing over there. So that was one of my favorite parts. After he's done, he's like, yeah, I smiled. I was like, no, all day he smiled. So those were just really highlights of my moment. And then also seeing the people around our community from Red Lake, White Earth, Leech Lake, and Fond du Lac. I got to see a couple people from Fond du Lac come make their way up here. So that's just beautiful. My dream one day is to have all 11 tribes of Minnesota here. That's my one day hope. So if you're hearing me out there, all 11 tribes of Minnesota, I want you here next year. You bring all your treatment buddies, everybody in Indian country from Minnesota, come here, because Red Lake is just such a powerful place. The people here are so resilient. I'm honored to have such good grandmas, aunties, cousins. My husband's my rung strong suit. I love him so much. He's been there so much for me. The Lusher clan, hello Lushers. So I love all you guys. You guys have done so much for me, and I always got to give you guys a shout out. And oh look, hey Nikki Skinaway, love you sister. I see you. She's all the way in Cali, so I'm glad she's probably missing it, but and then my sister Veronica, she did such an amazing job talking about the animal teachings, how everything has a spirit, the plants, the medicines. So it was just, those are my favorite parts, especially when culture was a part of everything. You can see everybody in the room just light up. You can just see they were just hungry for culture, hungry for language. So that was my main goal, is to make sure we incorporated as much culture as we can into this workshop, because I notice our culture is our answer. I strongly believe that our teachings from our culture, that's how we're going to heal. Those are the tools we need to heal. And, I'm happy. That's a toolbox I'm going to put in my toolbox now. I'm like, I got new teachings. I I learned about new medicines. So those things I'm gonna take with me, and hopefully see more of our own people come in. It was just beautiful. So
I'm sitting close to her. I could feel her energy, and I could feel Deborah's energy. But could you speak about, when I came here, all the other tribes across Lower 48 and into Canada and other places, your immersion schools? I was just, I'm looking at this little 4-year-old, up to the 3rd grade and then up to the 8th grade. Can you describe how you guys are bringing back the language?
that was the team has been going. I believe it was Nate Spears. He has been the sole person. Him and his wife. Oh my God, what is her name?
I just
Fred. Sylvia Fred. Man, she's a badass. She's the one who got this grant money to get these things for our children. I remember the first immersion class. I was really proud because my daughter got to be the first immersion class of Red Lake to talk the language. So when I heard her talking at home, she was teaching me stuff. She was teaching me how to talk, and I couldn't believe my daughter was only 6 years old at that time.
No.
And now when Theda was coming into town, I was showing her. I was like, "Look at right there. You see that school there?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's our immersion school that these 2 people." And well, they probably had more team. I know they had a bigger team, but they have run through the ground. They've did a lot of the work. I can't wait to see when those little kids are in 12th grade speaking fluent Ojibwe. We got to have the little ones come in today from Wasapeak, and Grandma Franny got to bring them to the ceremony. So all those kids were just looking, they just lit up. And then you can see the adults just light up when they saw the little kids. Like everybody was feeding off that energy. So only the youth, the grandmas, aunties, you can just feel that energy grow and grow. And that was my ultimate goal, was to ignite that fire that all of us have in us and grow and just becoming brighter and brighter. And I could just see everyone leaving today. They filled their cup up. They filled their cup up for this year to keep on going. And that's something I wanted for this conference. And the chemical health team, freaking did that. They did that today, and I'm proud of everybody on the team. So anybody who works at Chemical Health, hey, you guys, I love yous. You guys really do a hard work. I believe you guys are a front line. Even during COVID, you guys still didn't stop. You kept on going. That was just amazing to see that our own people still weren't going to stop. We were still going to make sure we had those services in play. And, we just had a really good leader and support from our tribal leaders and my boss, Tom Barrett. He's a cool-ass boss, so I just love working for that guy. But it was just a really good thing to see. And the young people in sobriety, I hope their fire was started today here, and it happened here in Red Lake. And I miigwech to all the culture coordinators for helping Dennis, miigwech for the ceremony. I could just see that water ceremony was just powerful today. And I just I could just see it, just feel like you could just see that water just sparkle, like it was getting brighter and brighter each time that drum was playing. And after I was done, I was like, man, I drank that water and I just felt the life. I just felt alive. Like I'm meant to be here. We're all of us were meant to be in this place. So it was just beautiful. And I'm happy I got to meet you again, Theda. I met Theda a long time ago before when I first started at Chemical Health. And 10 years later, I always told myself, I was like, I want to bring this to my community, and we want to continue that fire, continue that light.
So you can see, little sister, watch out, because she's going to live 100 years and she's a badass. Well, I'm going to ask
But I want to give a shout out to my sisters.
Yes.
I
Okay.
want to give a shout out to my sister Vistana, my sister Tara, Selena, Tashina, and my homegirl Raina, the other Raina. I love you and I miss you. So miigwech.
And that's, one of the things about giving shout outs. It's an energy that just goes out there and zings that person, and it zings you. And it's about when our heart opens up, like when we have grief and loss and we have a broken heart, we get cracks, and it allows those cracks to love more. The grief is always as big as the love. And so I've just seen so much love expression here. But, I wanted to ask Brother, because one of the things that I think about, one of our starters in the Wellbriety movement, Don Coyas. And I always look up to Don because he at a time was doing stuff on methamphetamine. He was asking the elders and taking that into recovery. And so I understand that you went to, there's one of the old school, we call it the old school because there's so much. Ozzie Williamson would talk about the Wild Rice Roundup. Linda Herrera would talk about the Wild Rice Roundup. Linda Woods, I think Linda's got 52 years. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Linda. They would talk about this Roundup. And so Brother just got to take that into his heart, and then also come here and help take this into your heart. But what can you tell us about that Roundup? What happened there? What was going on?
A lot of the similar things that happened here this week. The reason why this year was so good was because they honored people that have gone on. One of them was Ozzy and Marlon, and Don C. came in from Colorado. And we talked about our grandmas. We talked about Don did that grief circle, and people talked, and we talked about, we grew up hearing we're supposed to listen to our elders and stuff. One lady said, she said, there's nothing. That's why they had 6 boxes of Kleenex in there, because everyone needed some Kleenex. And she said, when I was young, I didn't listen to my grandma. When I got in my 30s, her and I were inseparable. But when I was a young girl, I didn't have time for her. But anyways, then she passed away, and now she said, there's nothing I wouldn't give to just have one day with my grandma, she said. And the whole room was just, we all needed to get a Kleenex, And there was not one box of Kleenex. There was 6 or 7 boxes of Kleenex in there. And people were talking about stuff like that. And yeah, they weren't just saying that to flap their gums. We really should listen to our elders. It would save us so much trouble. But we all ended up saying, yeah, I learned the hard way, right? With handcuffs on in the back of a police car. But when that lady said that, everything stopped, because we all felt it. There's nothing I wouldn't give for one more day. And it was a healing moment, Everybody just thought, like you said, you were laughing, and then you were crying, then you were laughing.
Yes.
There was stuff going on like that, and it was eye-opening stuff. Eye-opening. And everybody, there was people there, not just Ojibwe, but there was people from all over, because it was like a memorial. Yeah. But when she said that about her grandma, everybody, no matter where they're from, understood exactly what she meant.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And it was, and so I would say, if your grandma's still living, go visit her. If your mom is still living, go visit her. Don't put it off. Don't act like you don't have time for her. Do it. Because we all felt that, like, even me, a lot of times when I was young, I was running off out there. I didn't sit down with my elders. And so that's what we got to do. We can't go wrong, because they're the ones who they're the ones who have common sense and they want the best for us. But we don't want to listen to them. We want to go run outside.
Yeah.
But yeah, when she said that, everyone immediately,
Went to the
felt
heart.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's every one of us really wish we would have sat still for a minute and listened and gave them some attention. My mother was in the seniors home over here
Yes.
in the res here,
Yes.
and I would go see her, and the other ones, maybe their kids didn't visit them that often or something. And one time we brought the little dog, and that little dog, everybody lit up when they saw that little dog. And some of them didn't have as many visitors, so I would say hi to them and stuff like that, bring them a newspaper or whatever. Pay attention to people a little bit.
Yeah.
And they appreciated getting visitors and people acknowledging them, even just saying hi.
Yes.
And if we're lucky enough, we're going to be an elder too someday, and we might be lonesome sometime. We might miss our kids, our grandkids. We hope they come visit us and everything. But yeah, this past week, that Wild Horse Roundup's been going on for many years. This event's been going on for many years. It used to be in the building over there, that old building. Now
Yes.
we're in the new campus. But I've been going to this stuff for many years, and I always do it. It's first of all, it's free to get in. You don't have to pay to get in.
That is free.
And,
It's free to get sober.
And it's good,
Okay.
and it's good feelings. It's really good feelings.
Yes. Yes.
And they had another guy over there, Jay LaPlante.
Yes,
Guy from Montana.
Jay, yes.
He was one of the speakers, him and Don, and there was some other ones, Cheryl, the one from
Excellent.
White Bison. But they were awesome, and Jay was funny and talking about getting beat up in Montana and tough guys in Montana.
Yes, Jay.
But it's all learning stuff. No matter where the people were from, we learned from them
Yes.
and
yes.
appreciated it.
Yes.
And the young people were on fire. That's
Yes.
when they wrapped it up over there.
Yeah.
These young, sober people today are on fire, like to learn and to participate and do this type of thing. Do this work.
Exactly. And most of you know, February 15, 16, and 17, White Bison, because Kateri is executive director, Al Pooley, a Sacred Father, Sacred Motherhood, Native Dads Network, Mary Hummingbird, Albert Titman, Mike Duncan, Letitia, Sergio, all the crew were all coming together as 4 organizations because we have healing in common and we don't want to compete with each other. The governments have taught some of our organizations that to compete with each other, and we don't want to do that anymore. So we're all coming together for what is just called a grand, huge, epic healing. It's the second annual. The first one was in Brooks, California, and it was hosted by the tribe there. And that tribe, we only could take 348, but 600 people showed up. So you know what? They made the food. We tore that fry bread in half and we fed all of They brought more food. We made accommodations and 600 people came and we're doing healing. So we want to, Native Wilderness Institute, we just want to hold our hands up to those organizations. So thank you for talking about that. Well, we have about 10 minutes remaining. And so I'd like to ask you about your closing comments on healing. And I'm just going to start, when I was coming here, I always, because I knew Roger Jourdain. I knew Cecilia Fire Thunder. I knew the Trailblazers. And when I was coming on the plane, I'm coming down and I could see people fishing. And I kind of looked out the window of the plane. I said, "Hey, Roger, remember me, that little punk kid that was always debating with you?" We debate all the time. I said, Roger, I know you're over there in the universe and you're in heaven, you're in the stars, the Gakadoksikoan. I know you're there, Roger. Could you help us this week? And I just said, Roger, could you really help us this week? I don't know who's coming. I don't know what's going to happen, but could you just have pity on us and help us? And so I'm sitting there, and I'm saying, I'm not out loud. And badass auntie can be loud, but I'm saying, Roger, can you help us? And I just got this peace and this calm sitting in that plane, landing in Bemidji. And there was Auntie B to pick me up. That's my chauffeur, Auntie B. Shout out to Auntie B. She works with all the youth here. But I guess what I'm telling you is it's been my experience if you ask for help. In fact, the t-shirt here, all it says is ask for help. A novel idea, ask for help. Is that when you call on your ancestors, guess what? They listen. And your prayers will be answered. Maybe not on your timeline, but they will be answered. So I'm going to go to you first, Davery. Davery. I want to ask you, what kind of closing comments in this remaining time that we have? And what would you say to all the Indians and the First Nations and the tribal people out there for 2023? What's a good goal, or what's a good vision to look forward to? What do you have to say about that?
Well, I would say, we were talking about elders, the common sense of the elders. One of the things I noticed early on in my sobriety was the simplicity, or the common sense of the serenity prayer. And the serenity prayer basically says, have the courage. And I think if we have the courage, we can do anything. But we gotta not be afraid to get in there and do it. And just sit there. You don't even have to talk. You can say, hi, my name is Joe, and I just want to listen. Thank you very much, and whatever. But we have to have the courage to participate, to go in those rooms, get involved, show up, and you'll be surprised. When I first sobered up, I was reluctant. I was resistant. I didn't want to do it. But I was surprised that they welcome you, they accept you, they trust you. And that was a healing for me, coming from dysfunctional, I guess a typical dysfunctional family or home or environment. There wasn't a lot of trust. There was quarreling and swearing and accusing and fighting and dysfunctional stuff, trouble. So coming from that to having someone accept you and welcome you is a new thing. And it took me by surprise. And I said, I want to be here. That's where I want to be, right there, where people accept you and welcome you and trust you. And want you to join and participate.
And want you to join and welcome you on in. So listen to our brother, because, I was just thinking, when I first got sober, my first treatment program was Betty Ford Center, and I had gone to my mother's, 12-step, but I hadn't admitted yet. I hadn't surrendered, but they would always just say, "Come on in, sit down. Can we get you some coffee? Can we, and so remember, for keeping the door open, keep that open heart about healing." And so I'm going to scoot over here to Sister. I'm glad we got these rolling chairs, because I just love my brother and I love my sister. What would you say in your closing comments just out there to Indian country about 2023? What do we have to look forward to?
Well, I hopefully to see more Indigenous people like myself. I look up to Devry because of his education, so I really hope people go to school. This year, I'm graduating class of 2023, so that's my ultimate goal. I'm going to be the first generation out of my family to graduate. So that's something I'm looking forward to this year. And then I always talk about my sisters. I have 5 sisters that have helped me through my pain, my grief, stories. They help me so much. So if anyone's out there, that is struggling, find that group of sisters, find those group of women to help you, because when I notice with women together, we're powerful beings. We're really powerful. And that's something I hope the ladies, young ladies, older ladies, find find those ladies in your life that will keep you going. Because me, I'm those ladies. I had a shout out later. I love them. I'm gonna love them for the rest of my life. They've done so much for me. And for the closing ceremony, it was really amazing to see not only elders but the kids. That was something. The kids saw us. They saw what we were doing. And I hope those little kids are in this chair right here in the future generation. So those are my closing goals, and having a good support system. So that's something, those are my closing things, finding those good people. And if you don't feel like you don't know those people, come ask for help. We're always here. If you want to ask me, that's fine. My door is always open. I have an open door policy, so you can always come see me or whoever in the community. But miigwech, everybody.
So tell us what your degree is in.
My degree is in applied management, and I'm going to be having 2 certificates in technology and Sigma 6 Lean. So I'm actually I'm pretty badass. It's a strong male field, so I'm the only woman in my class that I've noticed, and I'm Native. So I want to make sure that all our people out there, you can do it. So you guys come out there and rock it. I know we have our smart people out here, and they're going to continue to do the good work. And that's what I want, is people to recover and just to do good work. That's all I wanted.
So there you have it. 141 weeks of Native Wellness Power Hour. And it's just been an honor to be with these two. I just, Kitsikakamen, love to them. And so we're in this remaining minute. You can go to our YouTube, because this is free. You can write in Native Wellness Institute, and we have over 400 free power hours on healing. I was just informed that several of the tribes in the area, they actually pay their staff to watch the power hour. I was just informed that, one woman here, she said, power hour saved my life. And so we're going to ask you, just with the wisdom that you just heard here from a female and from a male perspective, and just from Badass Auntie, is if you could share this, because in 2023, what I see is our world changing to healing, renewal, rebirth, transformation, getting their degrees, having forgiveness, and having joy. Because as always, it's your birthright to thrive and have joy. I'm going to say that one more time. This is Badass Auntie. It is your birthright to thrive and have joy. And Jean Tagabon, who will be with us next week, Jean always says, remember, your story might be someone else's survival manual. So that's Native Wellness coming to you live from Red Lake. I don't know why, I just like Red Lake. So we'll see you next week. Kitakito Matsuno.